Hi, I'm Dino Tripodis, and welcome to Whiskey Business, the podcast not so much about whiskey as it is one with whiskey. And very cool new opening for those of you who just saw it. Many thanks to John Whitney and Dave Powers for giving us that wonderful music hanging at the lounge. Very cool stuff, as is tonight's podcast. Live from New York City tonight. I'll tell you who our guests are here in just a moment, but before we do that, I want to talk about New York City for just a second, the somewhat distant past, my experience with New York City. On September, I believe it was September 7th, maybe the 8th of 2001. I did what any good parent wanted to do, help his baby girl's dreams come true. The work was on her. She had to audition for the theater program at Marymount Manhattan. She got accepted. So we moved her up to New York City. It was quite the journey. Got her settled into her dorm room, said our tearful goodbyes, and wished her the best on her new experiences in New York City. Like I said, September 7th or the 8th of 2001. Then 3 days later, 9/11 occurred. And as a concerned parent, and her mother here as well, we were freaking out. The worst tragedy that ever happened on American soil was occurring while our daughter, our 18-year-old, 19-year-old at that point, I think, daughter, was in New York City. Couldn't reach her, couldn't get a hold of her because the phone lines were down. Didn't know where she was, what she was doing. Didn't know if she had gotten up to do something touristy, to check out her new surroundings. Thank God she was in her dorm room at the time, away from where everything was happening. But still, she was in the midst of the most tragic thing that happened on American soil, and in the midst of it in New York City. And as the weeks and months went by and we recovered and we mourned the almost 3,000 lives that were lost and the 25,000 that were injured in that process, as we got past all that, I said to myself, as the months and the years passed by, that no matter what happened in New York City, it could never be as bad as 9/11. And 9/11 is a separate tragedy all on its own. But as far as lives being taken and life changing as we know it, because life did change back then after 9/11, it changed again with the arrival of COVID-19. It snuck in and started to wreak its havoc. And New York City became the epicenter of it all initially. That's where it all started. And my daughter, once again, was in New York City, working in the service industry, singer, songwriter, bar manager, bartender, working in there amongst the people. And once again, everything that I felt as a parent hit the panic mode. She's still in New York City, and she'll be joining us tonight along with two dear friends, Mike Greco, wonderful composer, singer, songwriter, and our guest bartender from New York City tonight as well, Kern Rodriguez, will be joining us. So welcome to Whiskey Business. As I said, the podcast not so much about whiskey as it is one with whiskey, as we are live in New York City. Let's bring them all up here and say a Whiskey Business hello. First to Greg Hansberry, of course, can't do the podcast without him, and the incredible John Whitney on the video side. Johnny, beautiful opening. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. No problem.
I love the subtleties of it, just the cuts on the drum beats, and Dave Powers, of course, with that amazing score. So that was a lot of fun. For those of you who didn't tune in right out of the gate, you missed it. But
yeah, that'll show you for being a couple minutes late.
Yeah, we're trying some new things. Yeah.
Danielle, Mike, and Kern will be joining us here in just a moment. But Hansberry, real quick, some bitness before we get to things. What we've got a couple things to do here, including the guest bottle for this evening. So go ahead.
That's right. All the boring, important stuff. Whiskey Business, of course, is on all your favorite podcasting platforms, including iHeart and Spotify now. So if you prefer to find your podcast there, you can share and like us there. On iTunes, give us a little review there if you can. You can find us at Whiskey Business Pod, also where all the podcast streams will be there, but also the YouTube stuff will be there. We have all of these shows on YouTube as well. Whiskey Business with Dino Tripodis. Subscribe there. We just click on the little bell down there, and it'll let you know when you can, whenever we post something new. Yeah, that's it. Facebook, thank you for tuning in already. You can, again, right here, down here, share and like us as you go. If you're watching right now, share, and you can comment, and we'll be able to kind of engage with you in real time if you're listening and watching in real time. Instagram, Twitter, what else? I think we're on that ESPN The Last Dance thing. I think we're on that.
I thought so, yeah.
ESPN The Last Dance?
Yeah, that's the newest thing we're on.
Dino, you're such an asshole in The Last Dance. It's just
what the hell?
I know.
I know.
Everybody, everything you thought about Michael Jordan and Dino Tripodis was just shot to hell there in the before it was all said and done.
One of our favorite things we do, we have a bunch of fun little whiskey wisdom short films, short little quick things that John filmed and Dino wrote, and we've been putting those out on social media, so you'll be able to find all those there. But also, we wanted to actually share last week's with you now. We forgot to get it last week, but just fun little liquor fueled words of wisdom. Here we go. Yeah.
Not a single chapter about prostitutes or opium dens.
Becoming a man.
I've come to learn this. There's no bad place to sleep when you're drunk.
Yeah. I've never been more proud.
It was
backstory.
Go ahead.
A little backstory.
I was gonna say it was like when in Bill Murray in Lost in Translation, when he was, filming the liquor commercial.
Yeah.
And like by the end, Bill Murray's just sloppy. That was 100%. that was an apple juice Dino was drinking right there. By the 14th one, we were pretty sloppy.
It's a little backstory on that particular piece of wisdom. I don't know what year it was, but I submitted that quote to Esquire's Meaning of Life issue, and they actually printed that particular quote. They selected it. I sent them half a dozen or no, but that was the one. And it's like, okay, the first time I'm actually published in Esquire, that's what I'm going to be remembered by. There's no bad place to sleep when you're drunk.
Amen.
But it's so true. Speaking of drunk,
yeah.
Tonight's guest bottle, there's going to be, when we have our guest bartender on here in just a moment, there's going to be a recipe with some rye whiskey. So rye seems to be the theme of the night here at Whiskey Business. I'm going very high class because I'm all by myself with the old Maysville Club rye. This is from the good folks at Old Pogue. If you get down to Maysville, go check out Old Pogue. And this is their rye. This is a 100% rye mash bill that has been malted as well. And it retails for about $80 a bottle. And I'm here to tell you, it's worth every single dollar that you might pay for it if you happen to have the opportunity to come across it and pick it up. So I'm sorry, boys. I have the old Maysville Club rye. John Whitney is drinking something from Canada, a little Crown Royal Canadian rye whiskey. And Hansberry is going with the Buffalo Trace that he picked up when he went away for the Memorial Day weekend.
So nice. Lucky bastard.
So 2 ryes, and our guest cocktail tonight will be made from a bartender friend in New York City. As I mentioned, we are live with everybody from New York City, so let's bring the gang in, shall we? My daughter, Danielle Tripodis, Mike Greco, and Kern Rodriguez, our guest bartender as well. First of all, we're actually pulling this off. Thank you guys, all three of you, for joining us tonight. Hi, Dig. Nice to see you. Dig, I'm sorry. Dig is the affectionate little name I have for my daughter.
Nice.
Yeah, and Mike, always good to see you too.
What's my name, Dino?
What's your name?
My affectionate name.
Yeah, your affectionate name. Well, can I say this without being offensive? Can I say without being offensive? I call you two Laverne and Shirley.
I love that show.
Yeah.
Nice.
Shamil Shamazo, I think it was.
Yeah.
Hassan Pfeffer
Yeah,
Incorporated.
I don't know which one is Laverne to the Shirley. I've called Laverne and Shirley, Thelma and Louise. But I love Mike is a great guy, a very talented guy, as is he said braggingly, my daughter Danielle Tyler, her stage name, but she gave me the love to actually go with Tripodis this evening. Thank you. Thank you for going with your given name. How nice of you.
Everybody
to go
in the city is too lazy to try to say it, so it
So you just
that really and truly that's years back. That's really why that happened. So, but that's a story for another time in the show.
So maybe what you're saying is that my career might have been entirely different if I would have dropped Tripodis and gone with something with just 2 syllables. I got it.
Well,
I see where I messed up. All right. I got it.
Now people are oversaturated now. They don't want to think about anything. So I had to change my name because people don't even use their words. They abbreviate.
They can't even get through 30 seconds of a song.
Yeah, no. So culture made me do it.
He's not wrong.
So as we are broadcasting and recording this live, this podcast finds all three of you in good health, I take it? Yes?
Yeah.
So far.
Asymptomatic.
Yeah.
Nice.
Probably.
We're going to talk about that a little bit more later, because all three of you have been there from the start of this crazy COVID journey and have remained in New York City during all of this. So part of the conversation tonight, in addition to some laughs and some memories and some of the fun stuff that you guys, Mike and Danielle, have done in the past, which I'm very much looking forward to sharing, will be part of the conversation will be what you were thinking when this first hit, because you were all exposed to tons of people prior to it.
Oh, like the germ tundra, for sure.
Yeah, right. So we'll talk about that, how you handled it in the midst of it, and more importantly, where we're going. Because when we look at the past, and when we look at the past and some of the things that you guys done, it's kind of bittersweet in a way to reflect back on some of the fun things you've done and wonder if moving forward, you're going to have some of the same good times that we're going to share a little bit later on in the program. But we invited you two because I love you both. And Danielle invited Kern Rodriguez, a pleasure, sir, to meet you, because we thought if we're going to have a broadcast from New York City, let's get a New York City bartender to make us a special drink for tonight's installment of NYC Live. Kern Rodriguez, you are you not back to work yet? Because that industry is still shut down. So you have plenty of time to sit and make us a cocktail.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would say like going back to like once everything had started. I mean, like I think just before we actually knew like the gravity of what was going on, I must have hugged and shook hands with so many customers and regulars, and I mean, like, did everything completely wrong. So,
but you didn't know it was wrong. You didn't know it was wrong at the time.
We had no clue at the time. I mean,
no, of course not.
I figure like all the years. I mean, aside from anything that's really affected me, you know, like let's say 9/11, which was right here on our soil. I mean, growing up as a kid. You'd hear about hoof and mouth disease. You'd hear about SARS. You hear about all these things, but it never affected us because it was across the seas. So it's like one of those things. Like as Americans, we're like, whatever, let's take care of that shit. Who'd have thought?
I'm glad you're healthy and joining us tonight, because tonight you're going to make us a very special cocktail. So let's get to it. And John Whitney actually has as many of the ingredients as you have,
all of
except
them.
except for the Pops whiskey, because we don't have that in Ohio.
No, this is a fun whiskey brand because it's a guy who's living in Austin. He bought barrels of rye whiskey from Canada, using water from Austin, Texas. And it's really floral, really delicious. And I'm telling you, this is one of the first batches he made. The second batch he told me is going to be really funky and delicious. But
I like
drink
the rye.
around.
That's what all the distillers say. Wait till you taste my second
the next
batch.
one. Keep coming back.
You're fucking awesome. Wait till you see that one. All right, so what are you making for us tonight, Kern?
So this is called the Brown Derby. So this is actually made from the Bozo Cardozo company that originated in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and it was a printing company. So they would make basically like gift cards and posters, and they moved the company over to Hollywood. And what was really interesting was the Brown Derby itself is actually named after a hat-shaped diner in the 1930s in downtown LA.
I'm familiar with that. Yes, I am.
Yeah. So it's
this drink is called the Brown Derby.
Brown Derby. Yep.
All right.
And
So what do we do to make it?
so this over here, you get 3/4 ounce.
Johnny, you ready?
Surfer.
I'm doing it. I'll go for it. Yep.
So we're doing 3/4 ounce of honey syrup.
All right.
Whoa, slow down. How many ounces?
3/4.
3/4 of an ounce. No
You
worries.
pouring that, Johnny?
Yeah. Well, is it close to a teaspoon?
You know what? I would say, let me see that teaspoon you got. I can eyeball it and tell you right now. You know what? Do 2 of those.
Two of those.
That's sweet as
2 of
fuck.
those.
All right.
No, because I'm telling you, it's going to make up with the grapefruit juice.
You're right.
1
That's
ounce
very
of it.
tart. You're right.
It's going to just strengthen it out. I'm telling you.
All right.
Everyone
Yes.
gets weirded out with sugar and cocktails.
Wipe the simple syrup bullet, Johnny, and make the drink. We've
I'm
got a whole
doing
show.
it. I did
That's
it.
it. Oh
Yes.
man, we're gonna do 1 ounce of grapefruit juice. This one I just freshly squeezed myself.
Is it 2 parts alcohol and 1 part juice or no?
Yeah, that's the best way to look at it. So it's 2
That's
ounces,
how I'm
2
doing
parts alcohol, 1 part juice, and
All right.
it's almost like you would call 3/4 of a part of the simple syrup.
Okay.
This one we're doing a honey syrup with that, and with this whiskey we're gonna do 2 ounces of this.
Oh, that part he'll get
brand
right.
whiskey.
That part he'll get right. That part
yeah.
doesn't care how much he pours.
No, I'm measuring.
Yeah,
I'm measuring.
you're
See, I'm
Okay.
measuring.
Yeah.
I got to measure.
All right, fair enough. Go ahead.
Yeah.
And then
All right, now
Kern leaves the podcast.
I'm taking a big old ice cube right here,
He ain't going anywhere.
popping this sucker in there. I'm right here. I'm drinking with you guys.
Are you putting ice in the shaker?
That's correct.
All right.
So with
hold on.
this, everyone, in case you don't normally shake cocktails, the best way I would tell you, like whether it's a big cube or like fast burning ice or like the simple ice that you have in your freezer, shake it to a point when you can actually hear and feel it where it sounds like slush. That's when you stop, and then that's when you pour it. That is the best advice anytime you're shaking a cocktail for the first time. So you're like, am I shaking it too long? Am I shaking it too less? Believe it or not, you can literally hear it and feel it as you're shaking it. So
When does the raspberry come in?
Right. This is the guy who can't even make a gin and tonic.
Oh, there you go.
He's got a lot more styles than I do.
Yeah.
Dance on the table, Johnny.
this is half of my workout because other than that, I just got a beer gut right here, you know?
Okay.
Hey, where does the raspberry?
What is it,
jam
Lassie?
come in?
What is it, Lassie? I hear a dog.
I'm
Is there
like,
trouble?
It's a little
Is there
Harriet
trouble?
over here.
Did John make the cocktail wrong?
Surprised that Donnie's trying to make a cocktail.
Whose
I'm
dog
getting
is that, by
serious
the
on
way?
this. Yeah.
Is Timmy drunk? What is it, Lassie? All right, go ahead. Finish up.
And so what I like to do to finish this off, you take a scant amount of the raspberry jam, preserves right here.
Scant.
So it's like basically you don't want to put a full teaspoon. You just want to take like basically at the end of your spoon, just about that much. Because you already have the sweetness from the honey syrup. So you don't want to make it too sweet. But what's great about the preserves, it just
Are you
gives
putting it
it
into the
right
shaker?
tartness.
What are you doing? You put it in the shaker?
It's going to go right in the shaker.
Thank you.
Hey, Dino, what's the difference between jelly and jam?
And jelly don't shake like that, or
Yeah,
jam
it doesn't shake like that at all.
Can't remember which one it is. All right.
And this way, you just give it a quick shake.
Damn, those arms turn.
Pick the worst
The
person.
difference between the way Kern shakes and I shake when we're working together is just infinite. Like I'm just like, and Kern doing his whole
Very robust.
yeah.
And right into the glass, right?
Pour it right into a glass, no ice, no garnish. But I like to use like a little bit of a grapefruit peel. Just express this.
Express.
Right into the cocktail. So basically, I want to make sure you guys can actually see this better because let me just bring the camera down.
Yeah, let's see.
Oh,
Take a peek.
that could
All
look
right.
Yours looks like a real cocktail. What's yours look like, Johnny?
It looks like a cocktail, but nobody told me about the express.
Oh, there's
No,
cocktail in that glass.
well, this is just a preference. So it's not to say you have to use it, but you just express a little bit of oils, put on the glass because you know why? It just gives it this nice little fragrant smell as you like bring the glass to your face, and it just like activates the olfactory senses. So
Johnny's got his cat glass, which Danielle he got because he knows you love cats.
that is a dope glass.
That's probably if there's like a Wikipedia about me ever to be in existence, all it's gonna say at this point. 'Cause it's
Johnny got the cat glass as a homage to you. So that is the Brown Derby. What's it taste like, Johnny?
It's really good. It's sweet. It's not very tart. You can taste the I guess the grapefruit just a little bit.
I love me some grapefruit.
It's really good.
Yep.
Nice.
And it's not too sweet, not too bitter. It balances out with everything, especially the type of whiskey you use. And again, this is just like a fun drink that was just made in the 1930s.
How do you make it?
Classic cocktails, man. They've made a huge comeback in the craft cocktail, I should say, has made a huge comeback in recent years. Kern, I want to thank you so much for indulging us and teaching John Whitney how to make a cocktail, which he'll probably never remember how to make again.
yeah.
No worries. Email me anytime, buddy. Don't worry.
Listen, I'm an old fashioned guy, so I make old fashions all the time.
Ooh.
Really, you've never made me an old fashioned ever.
You've never asked, but I will. I will if you want.
You're
one.
right.
You know what, Whitney? I'll teach you how to make an American trilogy. It's a dope old fashioned.
Oh,
An American.
All
right.
I make a pretty good one. You can show
Well,
me one.
It's if Rye Whiskey and apple Calvados, like an apple brandy, as a baby, and it's the driest, awesome old fashioned ever.
But
You
but
must
it's
have been-
it's not an old fashioned.
Apple Calvados. He went Apple Calvados. Is that what is
What?
that? Is that a resort in St. Martin?
No, sometimes you just have to have a special invite. You know what I mean?
All right, Kern, take a picture of that cocktail, and then we'll put it up on the Instagram page with your instructions,
Absolutely.
your ingredients there.
With your recipe and
Definitely.
everything else. Kern Rodriguez, everybody who's watching live, thank you so much, buddy. I appreciate it.
Sure.
And,
Take care of yourself.
and Dino, let's hit up his Venmo. Hit up his
Stay
Venmo
healthy.
account.
And his Venmo account as well. Venmo at Kern Rodriguez. Ken Rodriguez is an accountant in some place. I don't know who Ken Rodriguez is.
Wrong guy.
Kern
But like
Rodriguez.
most service people, industry people, he's affected by the COVID. So if throw him a couple bucks, I'm
Yep.
sure he could buy some great fruit.
Really appreciate it. Thank you so much, guys. This is so much fun. I would love to come back and do another cocktail with you. Cheers.
That'd be
You
sweet.
know what? We got all your information. We'll definitely take advantage of your generosity, my friend. Thank you for being with us tonight. I appreciate it.
Appreciate
Kern
it. Cheers.
Rodriguez in New York City. As we shift over to the dynamic duo,
What's up, Kern?
Danielle Tripodis and Mike Greco. There are two peas in the Tripodis pod, as it were. Nice to have you both. It's nice to see you both on the podcast. I appreciate you coming in tonight. You guys aren't drinking whiskey at all. What are you drinking? What are you imbibing in this evening?
Right now we're drinking champagne, but that's gonna run out real quick.
Yes.
And then what will you go to?
What do you have?
Probably wine.
Wine, yeah. Wine. Although I will say I have been taking advantage of my solitude with whiskey through this whole debacle, because whiskey in public in crowded places, it makes me mad, like angry. I can't drink it around groups of people that might aggravate
you. Yeah.
my drunk alter ego. So I never drink it when I'm out with my friends, but being by myself, I get mad.
I feel that
I
way
can only
too.
get mad at myself. So I drink it. I've been enjoying it like as a nightcap at home.
Yeah.
Because I'm by myself. I wouldn't get mad at
So the brown liquor makes you angry, is what you're saying.
It does to me. It does to me too.
Yeah. The only experience I have with my daughter in brown liquor was her 21st birthday when I actually came to New York City, and my daughter decided that she wanted to go toe to toe with me on shots of Jack Daniels.
Oh no.
No, that didn't turn out very well, did it?
No.
It did not for her. No, not for her at all. Not for her at all. No. I remember putting her in a cab and going back to the hotel and putting her into bed and giving her a little kiss on the forehead. And in the morning, she woke up and I was having some coffee and I said, "How do you feel?" And she said, quote, "Yes, quote. I asked you how you felt."
Rewind in a second. Quote. Go ahead.
Jessica says hi.
Oh, okay. Hi, Jess.
You felt like ass, I believe.
We've all been there, Danielle.
Oh my God. But hold on. You're leaving out a chunk.
What chunk?
He's still my good friend to this day. My friend Mark Gessner. He might even be watching this. I don't know.
Hey, Mark.
Mark was there. Thank God. He's like abnormally tall and long limbed. And at one point in the last bar we were at, I said something to somebody and I shotguns at him and I just literally blacked out and tipped backwards off my bar stool and he caught me. So the two of you put me in the cab that I almost barfed in. The two of you dropped me off at the hotel, and then the two of you went and ate roast beef at Katz's Deli.
That's right.
Wait.
That's right. Once I knew you were safe and sound, I got a sandwich.
You're in New York City. Go do it.
As one does.
Roast beef, yeah.
Yeah.
She all right? You okay? Yeah. Should be all right. Should be all right.
Yeah, a sandwich always seems to come into play because Hansberry had a question. Go ahead, Hansberry. Ask it now while we're talking.
And as we're clearing up some stories and rumors from the past, one of the infamous Danielle stories is Dino would he used to hang out at the Blue Danube. God rest its soul, not there anymore. And he tells a story about how he would pile in a booth and you would be there, little 5-year-old Danielle. After gigs at the Funny Bone or whatever it was, and you'd just be sitting there at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, closing down the bar with them, sleep in the booth.
Can't imagine why I turned out the way I did, but
So my question is, what I've heard his version of that story a handful of times. Do you have any recollection of?
I do. I remember the whole thing. I mean, I remember it. Look, I'm grateful for that.
You don't remember the whole thing.
You don't.
I do. There's you get flashes, these hearty flashes of memories in your life from when you're little. I totally do. That heavy sleepiness you get when you're a kid and you don't even care where you are. You just have to pass out. I mean, I still get that now, but it's that heavy sleepiness and waking up and everybody remembers what it feels like to lose a tooth. Hopefully in their childhood and not in their adulthood, but just that wiggly, that you taste the blood, you're just uh-oh, something isn't there that was supposed to be there. It's whoop, you just know that the tooth is not there anymore. I just remember waking up and being uh-oh.
Did you lose a tooth at the Dube?
I lost a tooth there. Are you okay, Pod? Do you have amnesia?
I don't remember you losing the tooth.
So what was it, in a bar
wait
fight?
a minute.
Or did it just come out?
No. You know what? I do. I do, because I remember when she lost the tooth.
Analogy.
When she lost the tooth.
I'm never having her on the show again.
You gotta remember that when she lost the tooth, that I was divorced from her mother, and that was my weekend to have her. And when she lost the tooth, she lost it on my watch. Her mother was living in Upper Arlington. I was living in a small 1-bedroom apartment in Clintonville above a hardware store. And when I put money under her pillow for the tooth, I gave her like $2 for the tooth. And she said to me, she goes, when the tooth fairy comes at my house, she leaves $5. And I said, that's the Upper Arlington Tooth Fairy. this is the Clintonville Tooth Fairy. we're on a little stricter budget down here in Clintonville in the 1-bedroom apartment above a hardware store. So yeah. I do remember that. I don't remember it happening that night, but okay.
All right. So it did happen, and you remember it, I guess, fondly, right? You know, you lost a tooth, you got a couple bucks out of it.
A thing about it. I mean, you know, I'm grateful for it. I think it's interesting and cool. And my parents didn't hide it. They sheltered me just enough. They didn't hide anything from me. I mean, my mom was crazy also in the best way. Like, my mom had a whole cabaret life that she lived, and I went to rehearsals with her. And I mean, I saw stuff, not too much stuff, just enough stuff to acclimate me to be, you know, I guess what I am.
Cool.
Today.
It helps shape you.
But yeah,
her mom was an amazing dancer back in her day so the whole talent thing is genetic, I guess, to some.
It's like not an accident that I work at.
We told that story when Michael Loftus was on, and reminded him of that story, and because I was defending myself, saying I'm a good parent, and Loftus, like at 2 a.m, goes, yeah, Smoker, say you're a good parent. You got a 5-year-old asleep in the booth next to you at 2 o'clock in the morning at a bar. I'm like,
I was with you and not a babysitter.
Exactly.
There you go.
I didn't pawn you off to somebody.
Okay.
All right. Moving forward. Let's talk for a second about stuff. You guys are both entertainers. You're both musicians. Danielle, I will say braggingly that you're a magnificent singer-songwriter. Mike, you make amazing music and have accompanied a ton of great people. That list could go on forever, but you also compose music on your own, which we will get to here in just a second with a little sample video of some of the stuff that you did. But you guys have also worked together amazingly well over the years in so many things. Danielle, you see the picture that's up there right now. What is that picture?
That is from, we toured in an ABBA show as Benny and Frida, which ironically are married, and people delusionally like to believe that is also real.
They think that we're married.
They think that we're married, but actually a lot of people think that. A lot of people do think that we're a couple. We're not. He's gay.
Yes.
And you know what? I gotta be honest with you. If you guys got married tomorrow, I'd be perfectly okay with that. Because I think you're great. Yeah, Mike. I've said it before.
It may come to that at some point.
I said it before. You're the son I never wanted, but you're the son-in-law that I would accept.
Tell me all the
with
time.
open arms.
Might become like the financially savvy thing to do at some point, because we're inevitably going to die together. So we might as well.
Just get some health insurance out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Mike, you and I have that in common. He always tells me the son he doesn't want to have anything to do with also. So there you go.
Yeah, that's true. I have a lot of sons that I don't want. But
you really have. You never know about.
Mike is concerned, and from the time I met him, and from everything I've heard, I haven't met anybody that's been there for my daughter more than you. So there, that alone, my friend.
Well, so that's how that works.
That alone.
Guardian angel at all times. Him and Marianne Piccolo. She's watching right now. Hi.
Marianne.
Yeah, Mary Ann says she was screaming over the Tooth Fairy story. So, yeah. So you guys did the ABBA show thing. You did it on cruise ships. You did it, no, you did it on tours. You did it in night.
around U.S.
Yeah, only in the United States, but a lot of places in the United States.
Yeah.
Bars.
Clubs. All
Clubs.
kinds of places. Places probably that
retirement homes.
Yeah, retirement
Yeah.
homes. I mean, everywhere.
Did you like it? Did you enjoy it? Was it fun?
Yeah.
That particular photo is from a
That's a New York show. Yeah, that's a
from
New York
the
casino.
Resorts World Casino,
Yeah.
which was a casino that opened up by Belmont Racetrack.
Correct.
So that was a cool show, and it was a cool stage too. It's like above all the slot machines, like on a platform, and it's a cool place. No, we really enjoyed it. I think that if we weren't together doing it,
maybe not as much.
It wouldn't have been as enjoyable. But and we had cool people with us: Kent Thompson, Joe Young,
the best musicians.
You know, and it was Oscar Hogdahl, Frank. You know, we had people that we enjoyed.
Everybody put on their blouse and they gave it all they got.
Yeah, it was fun.
You guys are doing a bunch of nice shout outs. And like I said, Mike, you have accompanied a bunch of people. You always seem like you're in the background, but you're such an integral part of everything, including, I would assume, let's get that picture of Amy Winehouse, or not Amy Winehouse, that picture of my daughter, Danielle, as Amy Winehouse. Let's get the picture up first. And there was,
hold on. It looks like John might have cut out a little bit. We're looking for the Amy Winehouse stuff, John Whitney.
All right, cool.
Yeah. Johnny went away for a second.
Yeah, it was an accident.
It's an accident.
Right.
It must have been the Brown Derby.
I'll say the drinking.
Yeah.
Brown Derby.
There we go.
Yeah.
Danielle, explain that picture.
Well, we did a show. Marianne and Mike have a tribute company called Damn the Light Productions, and one of the original shows that they launched that company with was called Tears Dry on Their Own, which is an Amy Winehouse tribute, and that was me. And there's Mike right back there, and Marianne was running around directing the whole thing, and it was amazing. It was one of the most special things I've ever been a part of. I mean, really and truly, and it was exciting, and
we'll continue to do it.
Yeah, we'll continue to do it at some point. The show.
I would love. That was one of the shows that I actually regretted missing and not seeing, but I know that it popped up. It's on YouTube, and we're actually going to go to a small clip of that here in just a second to share some of that magical night that was happening.
It was amazing. Danielle,
you did that particular show. So whenever we can get to that YouTube clip, Johnny, that'd be amazing. Here we go.
Run out to meet your chance later. You say where we marry, 'cause you're not bitter. There'll be none of it no more. I cry for you on the kitchen floor. Cheated myself.
Yeah.
Like I knew I would.
Glamour.
Told you I was trouble. Yeah, you know that I'm no
good. Yeah.
Sweet reunion, Jamaica and Spain. We're like how we were again. I'm in the tub, you on the seat. Lick your lips as I soak my feet. Then you notice little carpet burns. My stomach dry and my guts short. You shrug and
Is that you, Mike, on the keys?
Yeah, music directed.
Oh man, I love that.
Like I knew I would. I told you.
You know, I watch it and I forget that I'm watching my kid. So I mean,
you look and sound just like Amy Winehouse. It's unbelievable. Well done. Nice job,
pretty
guys.
cool.
you.
Mary Ann says, let's bring it to Ohio. Hell yeah, let's bring it to Ohio.
Let's do it.
Bring the show to Ohio. We know enough people here in Columbus that we could put that show on in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Why should we keep this clown show all to ourselves out here in New York? Let's take it on the road.
We could bring it to Ohio in a heartbeat. In addition to that, there's and I'm bringing up all this stuff from the past because, like I said earlier in the podcast, it's for a reason, because I want to ask you some questions as we move forward to the future. But a lot of tribute shows, Johnny. There, you got a bunch of photos there. There's one of her, Danielle, from they did a Prince tribute. There's an annual Madonna-thon that they do on a regular basis. And when we get to some of they're not popping up. You're shaking your head, Johnny. Okay,
something happened. So.
Something happened.
I'm having problems.
I'm giving you a heads up. I'm giving you a heads up to look for the.
What did Kern make you, man? Jeez.
Dude, I'm telling you.
How much preserves did you put in that cocktail?
No,
too much raspberry. I'm giving you a heads up to look. I'm giving you a heads up to look for the to try to get the lift them up video up here in a second.
Yeah, well, that one's queued up.
That one's queued up. Okay.
Yeah, that one's ready to go.
Let's shift over to Mr. Greco for a second, if we could, please.
Yeah.
How about that? Go ahead, Danny. What?
Video from Madonna-thon.
They don't
Vogue.
have that. I forgot to send that. But no, we've really been afforded the opportunity to perform in some of the best venues ever in New York City through a lot of these shows, and it's we don't take it for granted. So, and we get the best music that was ever made in those venues, and not the shit that we're stuck with today. So,
but this particular song that we're going to show video of right now, this is something that Mike actually composed.
Yes.
Right?
And you're in it too.
Well, my hair's bopping around in there somewhere, but
somewhere. This is for the Stonewall anniversary.
Yes.
And it's a song that Mike wrote called "Lift 'Em Up." You'll see some. You'll just let Johnny run it. We'll talk after.
This is our day to find a way.
I know him.
To try. Run away or run scared, I will be there. You are fewer than few for you. Yes, you.
Dino's got that necklace.
In the world around us sinking, we'll be okay.
Debbie Harry, well done.
Yeah. Amanda Lepore.
Take tonight into the sunrise and live today.
Lift them up.
Sharon Needles, Drag Race.
Mike.
One little clown car.
It's so weird. Blondie's in it. She's singing his song. I'm sorry. I have to.
Mike, how did it come to be, Mike, that you were selected or picked to write a song for that particular anniversary, and how did that all come about?
Honestly, I had a song that I was thinking about using for the 50th anniversary of Pride, of the Stonewall riots, rather. And I was on tour with Sharon Needles at the time. And I said, what if we just get a group of friends together and do this song? And hopefully we can raise some money for some charities. That was the point. And Sharon was like, that's a great idea. So we workshopped the song together, her and I, and we wrote some lyrics. And slowly over the months, we asked people if they would like to be involved. And thankfully, everyone was very, very much into it. So that's how that.
Let's back up a second. Sharon Needles, who we almost had on this podcast tonight, correct?
She would have chimed in. She loves. she's obsessed with your daughter. So
the love is so mutual.
Yes. So.
And Sharon Needles actually won RuPaul's Drag Race.
Yes.
Season 4. Yeah.
Season 4. Because so Sharon Needles definitely has to know our own Nina West here in Columbus, Ohio.
Oh, for sure.
For sure. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, right. Because Nina was on the last.
They're actually good friends. Yes.
Yeah, and we've been trying to get Nina on this podcast forever.
She's a drunk. So, it should be easy.
You should do
it. Yeah, you should do a whiskey drag cast.
Yeah.
So maybe between your connections and so forth, maybe we get them both on.
I think it sounds like a great idea.
That'd be great. That'd be fun.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Prepare yourselves.
Really and
because
truly though, yeah, get
ready.
Be sure it's a decision. The choice.
Drag battle.
Well, the reason I've been holding off is if I get them on, I honestly don't want to do it remotely. With Sharon, maybe we'll bring her remotely, but Nina, if she's in Columbus, I would actually like to be face to face. I miss doing the face to face podcast. So, Mike and Danielle, I'm going to count on you two to share this conversation with Sharon.
We will.
Move that. No pun intended. No pun intended. Move that needle over towards Nina.
Share the needle.
Share the needle.
Yeah. Share the needle. Sharing the needle for sure. All right. So let me ask you this, guys. As you look past on these clips, you see the pictures of ABBA, and you see the Amy Winehouse, and you see Mike even lift them up, and then this thing hits New York City and completely devastates your lives, takes away your livelihood from both a musical standpoint and making a living standpoint. Working in the bars, paying the rent, so forth and so on. Yeah, it's a great picture. I love that picture. So when this thing hits and you realize the severity of it, what are you first thinking in the early stages when this first comes to New York City? I remember, Danielle, you telling me, I'm scared because a girl I just worked with a week ago got tested and she has the COVID, and you were panicked.
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't know, it takes different shapes and different shades throughout, because you can only process as much information as you're given. And obviously at the beginning, when you're unprepared for that level of devastation and destruction, you're not prepared. So you're just trying to gauge it as you go along. And I mean, of course I was scared, and I continued to be more scared because the sliding scale was so all over the place. It was some people would just not be able to taste anything and have a headache, and some people would be in comas, and it was this death roulette that was being tossed around where you had no way of knowing how it was going to affect you. Can I get it twice? Am I going to get it really bad? You just don't know. And that creates paranoia. And then being inside all of the time creates all this space to think. And then you think and think and think. And I don't mind being by myself, but in the beginning, I got used to it, and I started to actually really probably enjoy my solitude a little too much. I mean,
like your dad.
Yeah, this is kind of great, but
she is her father's daughter. Yeah, for sure.
I'm all I haven't put on pants in 3 months. God help me when I have to be a startling event.
Yeah, she's not wearing pants right now.
I'm wearing pants. I'm wearing sweatpants. They don't count, but I'm just saying, you're winking at the TV, cheers. I don't have anything to do tomorrow. And it's in that respect, it's great. But that is a luxury. If you are able to be home and catch up on your shows and do all that stuff, that is a luxury. You are lucky that is your reality in this situation, because for so many people that we're close to, we have known people that have passed away. We know people that are in comas. We know people that are separated from their families. It's I don't take it for granted. I do not look at this as a free vacation and kicking my feet up to catch up on Bravo. Sure, I enjoy it because I work my ass off and it's nice to watch TV for a second, but that's not the point. So, and it's also not to be taken for granted, because we don't know if this can mutate. We don't know if we're going to have a second wave. We don't know any of that stuff, and we're in the thick of it. So I'm keeping my ass home. I'm not going out. I'm not drinking on the street. I'm wearing a mask.
This is the first time we've seen each other.
Yeah, we've been. I mean, this is my best friend. This is the person that I suffer the most without, and I haven't seen him, but for maybe a flash
on the street here and
6
there, 6 feet away.
Yeah, in months. So, you know.
But we waited this. I purposely waited this long to talk to the both of you because I did want things to, I guess, on a worldwide level, ease up a little bit. You know, even here in Ohio, you know, they lifted the stay-at-home order, and people can go out and commingle, if you will, with safe distancing and so forth and so on. And bars and restaurants are opening up here. What's the bars and restaurant situation in New York as we speak?
There is none.
There is none. And you know what? They're letting people be stupid versus making everyone stupid. Like, you know, they're not stopping people from being ass to elbows on the street necessarily, but they're not opening up these public places because it's too soon. You know, it just is. And it's human nature to want to make up your own rules and want to jump the gun and want to get out and want to be in the sun and see people. You can say, look how hard it is even to just get people to put something over their face. It's like
they
pulling
have a problem
teeth.
with that. And it shouldn't be.
How are you going to stop them from overdoing it when they've been, you know, inside for however long? It's just, I could go on and on about it. I won't. I just think that, you know, when you break your leg, you don't go running until it's like really healed, because you can't run very far on a half broken leg without breaking it again. So it's
that's a great comparison.
Right when things just start to get better, why would we just run out and be like, oh,
you're always very good with those analogies.
I like the death roulette you threw out there earlier too. Is nice. That was good.
He always has a good one for whatever the situation is.
But it's like, but really though, when you think about it, you have to liken it to these, because people lose track of their common sense, and you have to liken it to these common sense things. Like, if I broke my arm, am I going to go play effing baseball? No. So why are you running around? Like, do you think you're never going to see another ray of sunshine? God willing, you will. You will get drunk with your friends in a stressful environment for way too much money all too soon. Chill out, put a mask on, and sit on your couch. Like, calm down. I'm going to leave it there because I'm going to get worked up. But that's what
I agree with you.
Like, it's just how I feel. And I'm saying somebody who curates fun for a lot of my living. I run bars, I bartend, I manage them, I throw parties, I perform. I rely on this culture to support my life and that of my family and my cat and everything else. And like, if I'm telling you need to chill out, I'm the mayor of the fun telling you to chill out. That's hello.
There you
go. But I'm just saying, like, if I'm telling you to chill out, then you need to chill out. So that's it.
Aren't you worried about your livelihood? And I'm trying to be very objective here as your father, you know, and just, you know, as an interviewer, when you move forward, aren't you concerned about when things are going to open, when you can go back to making a substantial living?
Absolutely. But when I start to obsess over that and have anxiety over that, I stop myself and I realize that there's absolutely nothing I can do to control that outcome. That is going to be whatever it's going to be. And I would be a hell of a lot more devastated if we all run back and jump the gun and have to start this process all over again and go through this again and stay on the line for unemployment and not get through and be panicking for 6 weeks like I did, or, you know, or I get it. And then I'm in the hospital and that puts stress on my family. Or just, you know, there's just so many things. So the only thing I can worry about right now, and the only thing anybody can worry about, is just follow the damn rules and chill and let it work itself out. Because we ultimately have no control over.
All right, let me ask you this. Let me ask both of you this. Both of you this. Let's pretend for a second, okay? Let's pretend that tomorrow or starting on Monday, everything is supposedly fine. It's time to go back to work. Your places of employment open back up. Your musical venues open back up. You can perform again. You can manage your bar again. You can serve drinks again. Moving forward, how will you feel?
I think that the way we are programmed here in New York as people that are entertainers, performers, freelancers, it's just probably going to be business as usual. And I think
Is it?
I think well, if you're
modified in a way,
if you're
but
saying that starting tomorrow everything's back to normal, which is essentially what you were saying, I thought.
Yeah, and I'm saying, let's just say there are like here in Ohio, there are bars are opening back up and restaurants are opening up. They have restrictions, they have guidelines to follow for the time being.
Yeah,
but eventually they're hoping that those bar and restaurant owners are hoping those restrictions will be lifted. Right. Some people could give a shit about the restrictions. They're they've been, as one of you said, ass to elbows in so many places here. In Columbus even. But I'm talking about, you two as individuals. Danielle, before COVID happened, and Mike, before COVID occurred, you guys were focused completely on what you were doing as jobs, totally. Not only creatively, but professionally, so
happened quick.
that first day back.
So quick.
That first day back, what is that like? Whether you're singing or pouring drinks, what is that first day like?
I've tried to think about that.
Honestly, it depends. I don't know.
It's going to be a progression.
It's going to be progression. It's going to be paranoia.
It's not going to just be 100%. Everything's back to normal. It's not going to be that. And I think that it's kind of an unknown territory, and we're just going to have to go with what we feel is best for ourselves and what we feel is best for the situation.
Right.
I do know some bar owners and venue owners that do have a plan for 30% capacity and so on and so forth, but we don't really know when that's going to be, or
it's also just a very hard thing to
let me ask you an easier question then. Do you think it's changed forever?
A while. This is going to have a ricochet effect for a while, because it's, as everybody knows, this is New York City, and it is expensive to even get to eat a hot dog here, let alone have a store or a bar or a restaurant or anything else. I mean, we haven't really fully seen the impact of the aftermath yet, and we won't for a while, because we really don't know what's going to happen. And if people are smart, they'll chill for a minute even after they say it.
That's what I think. That's the thing is being an artist, you have a relationship with your audience, or a bartender, you have a relationship with your patron. So yeah, you could get up on a stage and sing and do your thing, but if nobody's there to see it, if nobody feels comfortable coming out and hang out and engage with you and buy drinks and shoot the shit afterwards, then of course something's gonna, it's never gonna be the same, because being an artist, there's always going to be innately that I create, you consume. Let's do it together. And if there's no one there to do it with you,
it ain't gonna work. It's not gonna work here, because people don't. You can't do it. They're like, yeah, okay, watch me. Especially here, nobody wants to follow the rules. It's New York. The bars are open till 4 a.m. legally, and then who knows how long after in some other places. So it's just not realistic to say, here's this venue, here's this club, half of you can come in, the other half of you have to stand 6 feet apart outside. And then what's that line going to stretch from the East to West Village? Come on. This is just my feeling or his feeling or whatever. We have no idea what's going to happen. It's out of our control. So it's like one of those things where my plan is to find a happy medium between maintaining my livelihood and taking care of my responsibilities, and also protecting myself, because people depend on me. And if something happens to me, that domino effect is going to suck too. And I'm not about to, be on a ventilator to make some idiot a vodka soda. So it's like,
yeah,
it's just what it comes down to. I'm not going to. So it's like, I'll do it if there's a gun to my head, but the gun's going to have to be there because I want to do it the right way and I want to stay safe.
All right, let me ask you this then. You guys have been locked down, stay at home, and you've been doing it. You've been behaving, for lack of a better word, and doing what you're supposed to do. Creatively, how has it affected you? Has it caused you to be stifled, or have you actually, in some strange way, prospered?
I'll let you start with that.
I would say that creatively for me, it was an opportunity to tackle personal projects that I really hadn't had the time to do. Because when everything's open, at least for me, when everything's open and everyone has a show or someone has an event or a party, I like to support people. So I go to everyone's function.
He does.
And I try to be there for all of the people that I know, no matter how I have been friends with them or whatever the case may be. So this opportunity, presented itself because no one could have an event. No one could have anything going on. So it forced me to just stay home and deal with projects and things that I could not have tackled otherwise. So in that respect, it's been definitely a cool thing to have the time to do.
And now that you've had the time to do that, aren't you anxious to get that out there? And are you concerned or worried that you won't be able to get it out there or get it out there the way you want to get it out there? I mean, okay, wow, this has been great. I've had time to work on this. Now what do I do with it?
Well, I think this whole entire thing has made people find new ways to expose their work.
Yes.
So, and honestly, I've kind of let go of a lot of the idea of performing live. I DJ a lot often, but in terms of playing live with my band and doing original music, even last year I only did one show. And
you could do a show right now. You guys could sing right now.
We could.
Do it.
They're not going to do it right now. They're not going to do it right now. She sent me a text earlier. It was a little too complicated.
Yeah.
So we're not going to get that live, I don't think.
I'm literally sitting on a microphone box because the stool, the little plug that makes the stool high gave out, and I went firing down out of the frame right before you guys got to us. We were like, oh. So
I'm sorry to interrupt, Mike. Go ahead. Keep continue. I'm sorry.
Oh no. I was just I was saying that I think that there are other avenues in this day and age to get your art and creativity out there into the world.
For sure.
So it doesn't necessarily have to involve being in, doing something in person or playing a live show. Unfortunately, because that is a lot of fun. But I think the way the industry has gone now is everything is, streamed and online content, and especially during this situation, that has been magnified.
You guys have done a few things together virtually and have streamed them.
We did the Beauty Bar.
Yeah, best bar ever.
Which is a great place.
I saw Danielle sing Bridge Over Troubled Water.
Yes.
At a recent venue you guys did for
Beauty Bar.
Yeah.
Beauty Bar. And you talk about Beauty Bar, and there was another great bar that is no longer, that you guys have fond memories of, Jerome's. That was like Danielle's home away from home. A lot of great memories there as well, which I don't know if we'll have time to get into all those, but I'm just curious as to where you're at, Danielle, creatively, because you kind of sat on things creatively for a while, and I'm curious if in the last couple of months, I saw, I don't know if you knew this, but I follow you on Instagram, and I
didn't know you had your own Instagram until Mike tagged you in it.
I follow you on Instagram.
At Dino Trip.
I would be offended. You are just so handicapped with technology and socials that I don't even care. I'll just follow you and wait for you to figure it out. But anyway,
you put out a couple things on Instagram, and I was very, very happy to see that. I was happy to see you get back to the muse, as it were.
Yeah. I mean, I can't really get into the full details of why I was on hold with that as long as I was, but I was. And And that's one thing, like having this time to myself and the various personal things that have come up in the midst of quarantine and things that kind of, I don't know, just happened beforehand. It freed up a lot of space in my mind. You know, I work a lot and I have a lot of, you know, I have all 4 burners going at once at all times, like my dad. So sometimes, you know, you have to kind of put things in order of priority on any given day, you know, based on survival or family or money or, you know, who even knows what it is. And having the time to myself forced me to pick up my guitar again and revisit my journals and my music and start working on new things and thinking of new ideas and new projects. And I have done that. And I, you know, I'm very protective over that stuff. I don't like to throw it in people's faces all the time and shove it like, hey, look at me. I can sing. I can sing. I just like to wait until it's ready and then I'll put it there. And that is something that's definitely going to come soon. And also with the help of him, Mike's
I can't wait. I'm excited.
constantly encouraging me and constantly pushing me. And that's why he's my best friend and my soulmate, really. This is
one of the reasons I love him the way I do, because he is that.
If I'm like, oh, I can't hit that note, I can't do it. He's like, you just shut up. Can you just, he like, just sing the damn note.
Yeah, absolutely. And I hope he continues to do it. You know, it's hard for me as the host of this show to interview my own daughter and then to say to people who are listening, my daughter is a great singer-songwriter, but I know that she is. I've listened to the songs. Hansberry, you heard Whiskey Shot. You heard that. You heard Whiskey Shot. I played that song for you.
We're going to record that very soon.
Huh?
We're going to record it very soon and release it.
And release it. You know, that's I say Whiskey Shot because it's whiskey business, but there are so many other songs as well. And, you know, while I've been cleaning out, you know, taking time to now I got time to go upstairs and clear out shit. And I'm going through your room and your creative crap of over the last, you know, 20 years. And I find these creative journals that have all these great lyrics in them and all these great songs in them. And I bet you, and I know that I, as a writer, have written stuff down and completely forgotten about it because I wrote it 5 years ago or 10 years ago. And I went, oh, look at this. I forgot about this. And I guarantee you that there's probably books up there with lyrics to songs and ideas that you have probably forgotten about. And I've made a separate pile of stuff that, you know, I'll make sure she gets this. And, you know, maybe it'll push her in the right direction to do whatever she needs to do and find something in all of that as well. Because here's the deal, guys, whether it's John Whitney, Greg Hansberry, Mike Greco, Danielle Tripodis, or myself, Dino Tripodis, we're all creative people in our own way, in our own sense. And the one thing that creative people can't do, they are literally in the creative world, we are sharks. And you know what they say about sharks? Sharks keep moving. If they stop moving, they die.
Oh, yeah.
So creatively speaking,
punch them in the eye if they bite.
Yeah, or actually in the nose. In the nose. But yeah, so creatively speaking, we are all sharks. So we all have to keep moving at some way, shape, or form through the water of all this shit before it's all said and done. And sometimes it's very, very hard. I will tell you personally that it has been very, very hard to sometimes move on creatively. And you start to, especially with all this shit that's been going on the last couple of months, you start to doubt the world, you start to doubt yourself, and you start to doubt and think, what's the fucking point?
Right.
But you can't. You can't. You have to continue to move forward, as difficult as it may be sometimes. So I hope and pray that both of you who are, you know, considerably young in the game, continue to do so and move forward. You got a lot of amazing creative years ahead of both of you. So I hope that once all this does clear and we get back to some sense of normalcy, that nothing but amazing things are going to come from both of you. And I will be there to applaud it and share it and brag about it
and have
and drink about it.
And drink upon it. Yes, all of those things, all of them. So I sincerely hope that that's the case. I hope that that you guys are seeing light at the end of the tunnel. And granted, that's just a scary fucking tunnel. I mean, Jesus Christ! I just read an article today where the rats are eating themselves because they have nowhere to go in New York City.
There's not enough garbage for them to eat.
Those rats are hungry.
Yeah, so hopefully, who are you waving in?
Danielle and Mike have a guest coming through.
Moxie just woke up. My little disabled special needs angel cat. Where are you going? All right, there she goes. All right, she's in a cone. She just cried out.
I think she's talking about a cat.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
You're
talking about all right, look, guys, we gotta start wrapping it up.
Okay.
It is that time. So thank you both, and also thanks to Kern Rodriguez for giving
Thanks, Kern.
Whitney that
great job.
He'll never be able to make again.
No, I'll make it. I really liked it. Actually, I'll probably make it again.
I love it. Grapefruit.
I've got all this grapefruit juice. I gotta make it again.
I love grapefruit juice.
That's enough for at least 20 more.
That's true.
At least.
Let's start right now.
Oh man,
very good. He was his Venmo was at Kern-Rodriguez too. Throw him a bone.
Yeah.
Is there anything you guys want to push or plug to let everybody know about that they should check out and see or do that we should share with everybody? That we're not.
I would just say keep a lookout. We're going to be probably doing some things in the next month or two. And
I mean, we're not going to be out running around, but being that we've been locked up for 2.5 months, we're feeling comfortable like being here together. Before we haven't done this until now. This is the first time.
I know, it's the first time. I get it.
So it's like, maybe now we won't push it, but we'll push it together in a confined setting.
Yes.
I'm doing the other things I'm doing. I mean, I do a lot of animal rights donations and charities and stuff. I'm really passionate about that, and I help a lot of homeless animals in my neighborhood. And I'm, one thing I will say is, any kind of stray situation, they really depend on people being out and there being things to eat and people taking care of them. And if people are inside all the time and they're not having, as much fun, or they're not throwing away as much food, or, whatever it is, they suffer. So if you have it in your heart, set out a little bit of food. If you have strays in your area, please do that. And there's a lot of rescues that I follow that you can.
I know. I'm asking cats in. Let somebody else take a cat in. There's other people that can take cats in.
Well, they better get on it because I'm running out of space.
Yeah, I know. No kidding. Rudy, who has been on our show before, Rudy Alexi says, Danielle and Mike, you were awesome tonight. Thank you. There it is. It pops right there.
Thank you.
This is great.
Joey Petrone, good friend of mine, enjoyed the show. Interesting insight. A lot of people.
Joey.
Doug Anderson, another enjoyable show. Thanks to all you guys, knocked it out of the park this evening. Along with the help of Kern Rodriguez, who I'd like to talk to again sometime. If Kern's still listening,
he's a big shot. I mean, he's the head bartender at a Michelin star award-winning hotel.
Kern and I bartended together for a number of years, and I love working with him, and it's great because he's a great co-pilot. And we turn and burn, whatever. But he's like, I'll be over there like getting stuff out. I'm like, yeah, and he's like learning people's life stories. He's lighting orange peels on fire, doing all this stuff. It's like, it's good balance, but it's like he is so in it, and he's so into it, and he's so passionate about what he does.
Good for him.
I wanted him on the show.
And he's got good shaker motion. That's really good.
Well, I think
you have shitty shaker motion, John Whitney.
You got to work on that. No, I think being a good bartender, it's just as much being a relationship builder with your customer as it is making a good drink. You got to be likable and enjoy that story.
Yeah.
Rudy said John's getting a job at High Bank as a no, he's not.
Not a good idea.
John Whitney is an amazing director. John Whitney makes amazing videos. John Whitney does an amazing job on Whiskey Business, but John Whitney ain't a bartender.
He's not a mixologist.
I'm a hell of a bar back, though. I'm a hell of a bar back.
Really hard to come by. Good one.
I can stock that ice like the best of them.
We will put the.
I was serious about earlier. Before we go, I'm gonna put this into everybody's heads again. The Amy Winehouse show. We could do that here in Ohio. We could do that in Columbus. We could do that. Oh shit! I know exactly. Hansberry, I know exactly where we could do it. A nice, small, intimate venue. Talk to Randy Malloy and do it at the big room.
Oh yeah, the big room. Yeah.
Do it at the big room. He would welcome that in a heartbeat. Yeah, for sure. We could do that. We can make that happen. Once everybody's
the wig is traveling in the living room on a wig head right now.
Yeah,
I have the same wig too, so you just borrow mine.
You do.
Yeah.
What's that on your head?
Back to the cocktail. I will make sure that we get that recipe on social medias and stuff. It seems like it could be kind of fun for our fans to try to attempt to make.
Yep, it'd be a good cocktail. If John Whitney signed off on it, but I haven't met a drink that John Whitney didn't like.
I love cocktails. It's good. It was good.
Doing like shark moves.
Did you like that part?
Speaking of which, tonight's guest bottle has been the old Maysville Club Rye, 100% rye with a that has been malted. It is delicious. It's expensive. If you go to Maysville, Kentucky, and visit the Old Poe Distillery, pick this up as well if you can. It's $80 a bottle, but it's well worth it, and it's almost gone. So that's going to be a very sad time in my life when that disappears. That has been the guest bottle, along with everything else that everybody's been drinking. Let's go back to our guests here real quick so I can say a proper goodbye, because I don't get to see my kid as often as I'd like. I love you both. Thank you both for being with us tonight. I hope you guys had a good time this evening.
Yeah.
You had a lot of insight and a lot of good things to say, and I appreciate that. And I think, and also just selfishly as a dad, you know, I got to spend some time with my kid tonight. So that alone was just a bonus for me. What's that?
Phone lines are always open. You're busier than I am. You always are.
Oh, please.
And now he knows how to do video chat, Danielle. Don't let him out of it. Don't let him out of it.
I have joined my daughter on a couple of Zoom chats, which have been very enlightening.
Yes.
Very enlightening. Yeah.
My birthday Zoom. My birthday Zoom was there's so many gay men in it that my dad was like, well, it's my first time in a gay chat room.
You sure about that?
Marianne hosted
on her birthday Zoom, I talked to more gay men in one night than I have in my entire 61 years on the planet.
My grinder, might as well.
It was wonderful. It was great. It was great. All right, Mike Greco, thank you, sir.
No, it was great to talk to you. I had a lot of fun.
Thanks for having us.
Let me just, when I first met you, I liked you right from the get-go. I still do. I don't like you. I love you. You're a great guy. You're good to my daughter. You're good for my daughter. And if you two ever do decide to marry, despite the fact that there is a huge disparity in your differences, I applaud it completely. I applaud it and I accept it completely.
Tax break is amazing.
Just elope, because I'm not paying for that fucking wedding. No. No, but I will pay for one hell of a party afterwards.
There you go.
That's all I got.
All right. We're going to let you two guys go, and we're going to wrap things up. Thank you to Danielle Tripodis, my daughter, and Mike Greco. Thank you, guys. I'll be talking to you soon.
It's so much fun.
Make sure you share this afterwards with all of your friends and let everybody know that you were on Whiskey Business, the podcast not so much about whiskey as it is one with whiskey. Back to Hansberry for some closing business, so we can tell everybody to remind everybody where to go, what to do. No, Christopher, that is not a dead snake at the door. That is an old scarf that hasn't been moved. But go ahead, Hansberry.
It's 80 degrees out. Why does he need a scarf? Subscribe to Whiskey Business on your favorite podcasting app, now available on iTunes or iHeart and Spotify. Us and Joe Rogan. We Joe Rogan and I share an office down the road.
You really don't.
Yeah,
but
we do. So thank you to all of you subscribers. Share Whiskey Business with all of your friends, your comedy loving friends, your alcoholic friends. And we are on Facebook, which you might be watching right now. Thank you very much. Like us if you haven't. Share if you're watching on YouTube. Thank you very much. Like us and share and subscribe. Also, let's see what else here. We're on Instagram, Twitter, whiskeybusinesspod.com, where you can find all of it, including our whiskey wisdoms and some blogs that Dino wrote. And and coming up this Sunday, episodes 12 and 13 of ESPN's The Last Dance. We're in that one as well.
And on Disney Plus, I think. Really?
Okay. Don't forget also to check out the latest Whiskey Wisdom. There are 10 in total. If you missed any of them, you can watch them on YouTube or on our website, again, at whiskeybusinesspod.com. A lot of people have missed out on some of the early ones. Much like anything, they didn't really start to burn through and get noticed till like the 7th one. So we're going to find a way to repackage them all so everybody can check them out again. Also, I'm very happy to say that I think next week we have to decide if we're going to still go Facebook Live and YouTube Live, which I think we might, but I think the band is getting back together face to face. I think the three of us are actually going to do some safe distancing and broadcast from a new location here at Casa Tripod. We're going to be out at the pond in the backyard bar.
So Jeff,
you know the pond. Danielle knows the pond very well. We'll be back at which is going to be a little disruptive because I went back there today, and right above the flat screen TV in the pond is the loveliest little bird nest that some bird made. And I saw the bird while I was back there today come over and kind of look at me like,
"Don't you?
What are you doing? What are you?" So now I have to find a way to gently move the nest over to someplace very.
You touch it. The human touch, they're done.
You gotta wear gloves, Pa. You gotta.
Yeah, that's not really true.
You have to
Come on, my grandma taught me that.
I'm gonna Ace Ventura that place one of these days. I swear to God.
You're gonna what?
I'm gonna Ace Ventura the hell out of that house one of these days. The doorbell's gonna ring, and I'm gonna answer it with like a squirrel on my head and 10 cats and a raccoon, and it's just perfect for my animals.
A vision of the future. A vision of the future.
That wouldn't be that hard. Yeah, you're gonna have to amp it up a little bit if you want to be.
We want a llama there. We want a llama in the backyard. A llama.
Thanks, Rudy.
But I'm excited about seeing Hansberry and Whitney face to face again for a podcast next week in the pond, and as we get back to a little bit of normalcy as well. But the reaction to Facebook Live and YouTube Live has been good, so we might still keep doing it that way as well. We'll see. James Walker says that's a myth about moving the bird nest, so I can move the bird, and Jamie Walker knows, so I can move the bird's nest. I can move the bird's nest over to some other spot in the pond so it still feels familiar. That bird looked at me like, "Come on, man, I'm trying to raise a family here. What are you doing?" And I got to take care of it. Yeah. So, all right. So once again, big thanks to our audio producer, Greg Hansberry. A little bit of Lou Reed in the background tonight. We got Lou Reed as the choice.
It's New York, I thought,
nice.
our New Yorkians.
Very nice, very nice. And John,
I got a Lou
you're in a
Reed
different
story.
location too. You're in a different location tonight too. Where are you at?
I'm in my dining room.
What's your Lou Reed story?
My Lou Reed story is that I worked on the music video that he was in here in Columbus, and he was about to do a sound check, and I was standing at his microphone in the stage center at the Palace Theater, and I was standing there getting focus marks for the cameras, and he comes up to me next to me and he says, "You mind if I stand there?" And I looked at him, and it's not looking at Lou Reed like this.
It's down.
Looking at Lou Reed like that. And I said, "Sure, if you want to stand here." And I moved over, and that's my Lou Reed story.
Got me the legend.
You tell me that before.
For Lou, not many people can say that.
Yeah.
No, because
Right,
Danielle's made a bunch of famous people. In fact, one of those pictures that you flashed that we didn't even get to was the picture of there he is. That guy right there.
I love Bob.
I got to sing for him on his birthday, which was terrifying, but also amazing.
But who is that?
Bob Gruen is the legendary rock and roll photographer. That photo that everybody worships of John Lennon, he took that.
Yeah, he took that and thousands of
among
as well.
1,000.
Yeah.
That was
And
like
you got a picture with him, and you sang at his birthday party. That's pretty cool.
I did, and
You've had a lot of watershed moments, Danielle.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have more, kiddo. I just know you are. I think that the second half of your life and career is going to be the one that you blossom and truly grow, because that's how adversity works. Trust me. That's how adversity works. You take it, you get beaten down, and then all of a sudden you just rise from the ashes.
Well,
so
amongst the lows, there have been extreme highs. So, I don't take anything for granted. I realize that I've lived a life and met people and done things and performed on stages and sung with people and been next to my heroes in my lifetime. And that's something that a lot of people go their whole lives and they can't say. It's easy to take for granted, but I don't. I don't take for granted that people that I
you have been next to Deborah Harry. You had Lady Gaga sitting in your lap.
I did. Yes, I did. And I do.
Crying out loud.
It's a big, I don't take it for granted to have, people, when you grow up worshiping rock and roll and music like I did as a kid, I would find any reason in the world to not go to school just so I could stay home and record videos off MTV and just adore it all day long. And then to, have that transcend into them knowing who you are and, saying hi to you and even being friends with them in some ways. Like, it's performing with them, being at events for them, singing for them. It's like, who can complain about that? So obviously I want more and more.
Let me close with this. What did Lady Gaga say when she plopped into your lap?
Oh my God, I don't know. We're so
You remember
our friends. I really don't. I was sitting with.
She's been flopping around us multiple times.
We have so many connections to her, and which is amazing. But one of our closest friends, who happened to be a close friend of hers, was sitting drinking with me, and so she came over and she sat in my lap. I don't know. It just is what it is. These things that seemed totally normal at the time.
At the time, sure. Lady Gaga sitting in your lap. That happens all the time here in Columbus, Ohio.
You get used to seeing people in your environment, because we saw her all the time. She was, every time she was in town, she would pop up because we are, close with people she's close with. So
Dino sat in my lap once. I'll never forget that either. Dino sat in my lap once. I'll never forget that either.
Yep. That was special, wasn't it?
Yeah, sat in my lap once too. I thought that was special.
And your reaction was ow, right, Greg?
Give me more.
Yeah. Really? So
all right, kids. We're going to wrap it up. All right. Danielle and Mike, again, thank you so much. Hansberry, thank you. John Whitney, thank you. And thank everybody who's been tuning into these remote broadcasts. We're probably still going to do them on some level down the line. because it's worked out well. But as we get closer and closer to what we hope is some sort of normalcy, honest to God, people, I don't know. I hear about second waves. I hear about spiking in other states. I hear people rushing out to things too quickly and everything moving too fast. I don't know. As I've said on many podcasts before, I don't judge. I don't preach. I just hope that things can get back to some sort of normalcy so that we can all, once again, join together as friends and family and get back to some sense of life that we knew before all this crazy shit happened. And we will adapt and grow and learn, because that's what we do as human beings. Much like I said earlier with the shark analogy, we're all sharks, be it creative or in life. We have to keep moving or we'll die. And I plan on continuing to move as much as I possibly can. Sometimes a lot slower than I want to, and sometimes not as efficiently as I want to, but moving nonetheless. So, my friends, until the next bottle, God bless you. See ya.